Double kill. Triple kill. Quadra kill. Penta kill. Welcome.
Hello and welcome to the OzLoL podcast, episode 50. Yay, reached a half century. Welcome along. We've got a really huge week of stuff to talk about to do with the oceanic scene, which gone international with the international wildcard that's happened just over the last week, and with really big changes with all the things that are happening with teams and new organizations and people switching to old organizations, all sorts of stuff. So I've got two great guys to help me with that. I've got Ralph and I've got Steve.
Hello there.
Hello.
And of course we are live from... Yeah, we're live. We're live on twitch.tv/OzLoL podcast. And we go live from... right now we're a little bit earlier than normal, but 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're still working on the stream settings, so if you're listening right now, please bear with us. I'm trying to get it to work as best as I can, but technology hates me, as I've been saying the last couple of weeks. Yes, twitch.tv/TForce podcast, which of course was sponsored by the Trinity Force podcast. And if you go to ozlol.trinityforcepodcast.com, you will find our website and all our previous episodes. And you should go check that out. And don't forget the Oceanic Battle Arena, which will definitely be happening this Thursday night from 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's an opportunity for you to come along, play some games, and have it casted by myself and Cleric Steve. And we talk about how you get better at the game. So basically, it's bronze to gold, and come and join us. Join us in the OzLoL chat room in the client, and that's where we post all the details. So yes, do that.
Do that. That's an order.
Yeah, it's an order. Damn straight, man. Damn straight. And what else can we talk about? We talk about iTunes reviews. So it's been a while since we want more of them, of course. It helps us get the show out. So make sure you head over to iTunes and give us a review if you haven't already. And that's probably it for show news. We can get on to the more important stuff, which is... we'll talk about International Wildcard first because Ralph was actually here and we didn't know he would be. So Legacy... esports went to the International Wildcard event in Cologne, Germany for Gamescom. And
Spoiler alerts.
And they had a very interesting tournament. So it was last Wednesday and Thursday with the games at the very oceanic friendly times.
They were.
Yeah.
Good. A rare treat for us.
It was a rare treat for us.
Didn't have to watch VODs or didn't have to stay up till ridiculous hours to watch stuff. So or get up super early, I should say. So it was nice.
Yeah. So so basically the Wednesday was the round robin and the Thursday was the final. And spoiler alert, Legacy made it through the group stages going 3-1 and got into the final, and then they lost 3-0 to Dark Passage. So they played against Russian Force and Dark Passage, Russian Force being from the Commonwealth of Independent States, aka Russia, as the name would suggest. And then
Russia.
Dark Passage from Turkey. So let's go through the group stages because that was very, very positive. So they had 2 games against each team: 1 win, 1 loss versus Dark Passage, 2 wins versus Russian Force. What did you guys think? You guys saw all the games, correct?
I only saw the final.
Oh, okay. Well, Steve and I both watched all the games. So, what were your thoughts, Steve, on how?
Well, I got to say, Ralph missed out on a show because the group stages is where it's at. That was all the really exciting stuff.
I heard.
No. The first 2 games from Legacy were quite well played. They had very poor laning phases, I got to say, but they seemed to have an idea of what they were doing. They rotated to objectives quite well. It was a game 2 versus Russian Force. Choo Choo's just got so fed. I think it was 9-0 something. Like it was really, really strong. in that second game. The first day, the first 6 games, all of the games were really entertaining. I think the Russian Force guys were a little bit out of their league, I guess. No pun intended. But yeah, the Dark Passage, they certainly put up a very good fight, but they were able to in the early stages in the first few games. Well, the first game against Dark Passage, Legacy really took it to them, despite the shaky start.
Yeah, no, they I mean, really, probably what the real issue, I guess, in all the games, not so much against Russian Force, but all the games against Dark Passage, is they just had really terrible starts. And against Russian Force, it didn't seem to matter as much because they were just better. Dark Passage stomped them as well, so it wasn't a very good game. Wasn't really good for them as a whole, but
well, I think the first two the Russian Force games were better than the last two.
Yep.
I think they were really on tilt for the final stages of the night, because they'd gone 0-2 in their first couple of games. You know, that just puts you in the wrong mental state.
Yeah,
Was it just remind me? Was it game 1 versus Dark Passage where we were 5k down before the end of the laning phase, and then we won like a team fight, and then we won another team fight, and then we won another team fight and got tower and dragon and tower.
Well, that
and
basically what happened
with a 5k gold lead. Was that was game 1?
Yeah, that was game 1 versus Dark Passage. So really, all the games they started off badly versus Dark Passage. All the games, including the final, which we'll get into in a bit, were bad starts. The thing about the first game against Dark Passage was they able to get back in because Eric Gymnast Alistair just completely kicked in. Like, he just managed to get some awesome 3-man knockups, and that just totally changed the game. I mean, there's actually a montage out there, which I think I'll try to track down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was phenomenal. Like, it was just some of the best Alistair work you'll see anywhere. It was really great, and it won the game for them. And I mean, after these shaky starts, they actually played really well. So it's a real shame that they kept giving up first blood. I mean, really what it was is almost every time they gave up first blood, and usually gave up the first tower, and it just snowballed from there. EGM obviously caught them on the hop with Alistair in game 1, but with game 2 and with the finals, they were not, they basically snowballed that early lead. They didn't get sort of caught out with these team fights, and so they basically just rolled them. So yeah, I mean, I think actually I did keep track of. I think only the second game versus Russian Force did they actually pick up first blood. Otherwise, they gave up first blood in every game. So, it's not a great way to go about things. So I mean, that's obviously, and something they said. I think it was Choo Choo's. He posted on his Facebook. He talked about how they're really focused on the objectives, and that's probably where they weren't focusing enough on their individual play and the sort of stuff that led them to losing first blood. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, we've got Choo Choo's went 9-0-11 versus Russian Force in the first game. Cardred was 6-1-6, and in the second game versus Russian Force, Choo Choo's was 8-17, and Cardred was 18-8.
That's a very
those are some good matches, and I think they overall had some pretty good stats versus Dark Passage as well, but it's just losing that early lead and then just better rotations, better movement around the map, and just putting a lot of pressure. And it just, Dark Passage was always on the front foot. Legacy were always on the back foot, and they were just always reacting and never reacting fast enough. So it was really quite a shame.
This is the group one, right?
This is the group stage, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Now going into the finals, because they went 3-1, which is pretty good. Going to the finals, I think everybody was pretty pumped. Really, well, Steve, I'm sure you want to go first because I think you can point out the very big problem from the very outset. Apart from losing first blood in every game.
Okay, if you had 5 clones of Faker on your team, and you jack them up on like performance enhancing drugs to the point that it was absolutely the most mini-maxed player you could imagine on the planet. They still couldn't have won with the champion picks that they locked in. The team compositions of the legacy team for every single game, game 1, game 2, game 3, were all atrocious. There was just absolutely no synergy with almost any of their champions. And they seem to be going for it. Like they seem very positive. What's the word I'm looking for? They were just insta-locking their champions. Of like, okay, they've picked this, let's pick that. It was very quick. There didn't seem to be much, oh, well, they've done this. And Alistar was banned for all 3 games because he just wrecked totally on the first day. And I think Legacy were really hoping that wasn't the case because they seemed to rely on him for almost every single game they won was almost because of the Alistar pick. So, there was Carbon was playing Nunu, and it was really strange. Like when you pick the combination that I thought in game 1 was quite good was Nunu and Jinx, because with those 2 champions and Braum was the support. With that champion combination, you can really do some excellent work in a lane swap. You can push down that tower in the first few minutes with the attack speed buff, with Jinx just absolute crazy attack speed, steroid. You can really do some damage, but they didn't do it. They did not use that combination for what it was worth. In game 2, Dark Passage picked Nunu and Jinx. I can't remember who the support was off the top of my head, but they ran the same combination. They ran almost the exact same team composition against them, but they used it for what it was worth. And the amount of gold advantage they got in the early game as a direct result just completely tilted them. Game 3, they started off by picking, what was it, Nunu Braum again? No, Nunu Nami. Nunu Nami. You're like, well, those champions, they're the first 2 champions that they locked in with almost zero synergy to them. It's like, okay, one of them, you could do some zoning and some disengage with both of their ults, but, what are you going to do? And also, you haven't got your AD carry in there, which, from the looks of your team composition, that's where you want to go with those sort of champion picks. You're just giving it up to the opponent to pick. It was like every single lane, they counterpicked themselves after the fact. It was like they locked in Vayne. The enemy team locked in Vayne, and then they locked in Mundo. I think I got the right game. It was game 3 they picked Mundo?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's like Nidalee Aurelia.
Yeah, and it's like, they've counterpicked themselves. And don't get me wrong, game 1 they showed just exactly how well they can perform when they've got an objective-focused team. This team, or none of the teams really, seem to work well together, so they could never really get a kill or get a double kill or force a dragon fight and come out ahead. Almost every single one of their teams was set up for failure beforehand. It's like, if you're out in solo queue and you're like, oh man, no, I play Nunu all the time. Nunu's awesome. It's like, yes, in solo queue you can have a devastating effect on any champion. You could play Poppy, you could play Vigar, Sion, or whatever, and you can do really, really well. But in a professional team environment, team composition, bans, picks, all of that kind of next level stuff is so crucial to your success. And there are games that are won and lost at Champ Select, and I feel that at least 2 of these 3 games, that was very much the case. Especially game 3. Game 3.
I think it's a very OCE thing as well. Maybe it's not OCE, but maybe it's like amateur league stuff. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I just mean I do recall from quite a few of the, OCE regionals that you'll see in the finals or towards the final semis or whatever, you see teams really leaning into their comfort picks rather than actually trying to develop team synergy, trying to pick champions that are, meta champions. Even sometimes they'll just pick what they feel like they're most comfortable with from what they've played in solo queue, rather than thinking, okay, well, what's my team need? What's going to work best here? And I think that that's something you really don't see at professional level. That is stuff like LCS in NA, EU, Korea, etc. You see much stronger reliance upon meta champs. You see much stronger synergies within the teams, and even under pressure in best of five situations, people, those players don't revert to their comfort picks when they feel like they're under pressure. They still keep trying to push out those sort of meta champs or those champs that are going to fit team comps. So I think it's probably an area that OC needs to develop in. How can it broaden its champion pools and make sure that when they are playing best of five, that they don't revert to predictable comfort picks.
Yeah, well, I've seen a lot of Oceanic teams put together some amazing team compositions, and this isn't like they got outpicked. It's like they underpicked themselves. It was really, I think it was at the Russian Force, the final game against Russian Force. I think we had. I'm just trying to remember the pick order, but the first three we were on purple side, and the first three champions we got were Alistair, Cogmore, and Rengar. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. There's no Orianna ban in there. You can basically have anything for support, whether you want Lulu, like you had the pick of the litter, and they went with Mundo Zillion. And I'm like, no. Orianna is open. You have Alistar, you have Rengar. You need to pick Orianna. I can't remember what the opponent was, but it was not a poor, like, Orianna doesn't do particularly poorly against almost anyone. You can pretty much pick her, play safe, and you'll do amazing thing when it comes to the team fighting phase. Mundo and Zillion have absolutely no way that they can peel for Cogmore. Rengar has like the slow, but he wants to use that for his burst combo. So basically, the protect the Cogmore idea all fell down onto Alistar. And you cannot just have one one champion with what is it, 8 to 12 second cooldowns being your only peel for your incredibly squishy and only main damage source. And it was clearly that and the poor early game performance, I think, that really cost Legacy on the third game. I think just losing game one kind of it must have put them on tilt. It must have just messed with their heads, because when you look at the picks and bans, they were not thinking clearly.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
What were your thoughts, Carrot?
I've just been messing around with some of the stream settings to try and get it work, so I haven't actually heard all of what you guys said. So if I repeat what you guys said, I do apologize.
Team comp's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think... So... The Aurelia issue in the first game where Minky just didn't know how to deal with in Italy, that was a real problem because...
Yeah.
And it came back to bite them, because I'm pretty sure that Nidalee was picked up again in either the second or third game. And she's just... I mean, the crazy thing was... So Nidalee, I think the only offensive item she had was a Trinity Force, and apart from that, it was just all defensive.
That's all you need.
Yeah, and so that was just... it's just insane and very difficult. It just made it hard for them to deal with. So, I mean, that's... it's one of those things, like, our guys, anybody in the Oceanic scene can only play a certain amount of champions. So they've got, like, no... Like, they've got normal jobs, and they've got, like, they've got to live their normal lives. They can't... So being able to go against every single potential pick is hard.
Sure.
So, it's one of those things, and obviously Minky felt comfortable going into Italy, but it turned out it didn't work out so well for them. And I think he might have actually given up First Blood.
Yeah, well, I want to actually dispel a myth here. People are picking Aurelia because she is a safe laner, and that she basically cannot be stopped at all. That is a myth. Aurelia is regularly shut down to the point where all she does is dash around in team fights and does nothing. Even if she's got herself a Trinity Force and some tank stats after she's gotten a kill or a couple of assists or some Dragon Gold, even if she's ahead, she does very little. If you get really far ahead, if you get like 2 levels and you've got, your core item finished, you can wreck face as you can on any champion. But Aurelia is a pick that you go when you are not sure what they're going to do. And League of Legends, if you are playing reactively, you are going to lose. So it's basically going... I don't know what you're going to pick, so I'm just going to pick something safe. No, you pick the champion that you're good at or that you want to base your team composition around. And if they try and counter you, you can try and counter with other picks. The laning phase is not the be all and end all.
I mean, overall though, I think, I think Legacy did a great job of representing the oceanic scene. Like, I think
Oh, absolutely. We're being very, very critical here.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think the criticism's undeserved, and I'm sure they feel it as well. Like, obviously, they were very disappointed with their performance, which is, in a sense, a good sign. It means that they're taking it seriously, and I think they're going to learn a lot from it. And I think, just in this regard with their early game, that's obviously something they need to work on. But I think they did a really great job, and big kudos to them. I'm sure they had a great time, and I guess their big test next is going to the Oceanic finals, which will be later in the year, and seeing if they can sort of show the same form they had at the Winter Regionals. So it'd be good to see how they go and how this experience feeds into that. But otherwise, I think you guys have we've already covered it all in terms of their performance. If you haven't watched the round robin games, go and watch the games against Dark Passage. They were really great games, and there's some great plays. Even in the games they lost, they had some really good plays. And what was really frustrating, particularly that first game of the final, there was some fights that were so close to winning. People getting away with like 20 health, like Dark Passage players getting away with 20 health or something crazy like that. It was so frustrating because there was a few times they really could have turned it around and really could have took back the game. So it's a shame, but congratulations to them. They worked hard. They've earned the credit they've got, and I'm sure they'll work on the rest of it. So
yeah,
cool. All right. Well, let's move on to some of the other stuff that's happening. So we've got probably the next biggest news of the week is that Team Immunity has left the organization and formed a new organization called Exodus Gaming. I'm going to put an article in the stream if you haven't seen the article, but essentially, basically they've formed their own organization, a la Legacy Esports style. They in this article, it's got a statement from Frank, the manager. And they said, we're excited as a team to take the next step in our journey through esports. I'd like to personally thank Tony Truebridge and Team Immunity for giving us the opportunity to compete under their banner. Well, it feels like an eternity since we signed with them. Creative and operational differences have led to this. And then they go and say that they think they'll do better and they wish, well, the new Immunity Squad, which is formerly Team Immunity Squad 2, so they've moved to be the only team, which would be Niwa and Co.
The formerly known as X Dreamers, formerly known as Team Dignitas, formerly known as UMart.
Yeah.
Like they've had a few.
God
they've
bless
gone through
OCE.
a few names.
Yeah.
Looks like Niwa is sticking with his name, by the way. He hasn't made up his mind.
Fair enough. So, what do you guys reckon of Exodus leaving? It's funny, like when you talk about Exodus leaving, because Exodus is leaving. So, Immunity's Exodus.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what we were talking about with Legacy. I mean, they're setting up an organization. Cool. Obviously, don't have full visibility on the reasons for that. I think the main thing is the focus needs to be on their play, on their game, on their skill. And so if this is a move that's going to give them more freedom to operate in the way that they want, so they can focus on their game and do better, great. But if it's going to sort of mean some sort of distraction for them, and they spend more time trying to build the organization than they spend trying to build their play, then I think that obviously that's probably not the right choice at this point, given where OCE teams are generally at. But obviously, really difficult to comment. Wish them all the best. It'd be great. Seeing new organizations pop up can be a great thing if they're really strong, positive forces in the community. So, just hope it goes really well for them, and I just hope that they're able to sort of use this as a chance to sort of strengthen the quality of actual play in OCE.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think I did actually have a a apart from that earlier today, but I forgotten it. Now my wife's giving me a hard time.
Hi, Tracy. Oh.
Yeah, you can say hi. That's my wife in the background.
Gotta love live streams.
Yeah, gotta love live streams.
Right.
At least it's not rats. If you watch the Trinity Force podcast, Chiro Jade has to deal with rats.
Lady Twitch.
Lady Twitch. And
That's right.
like there's about 4 other ones.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to, like, if you actually think about it, there's actually not that many brands. Now I've thought of what I was thinking of. There's not that many brands actually in the Oceanic League of Legends scene. Like there's not we've
There's
got
not a
team,
Curse
sort
or
of
a Dignitas.
multiple. Yeah. Like well, Curse seems to have disappeared, but in terms of multi-game organizations. So Team Immunity obviously has that. Envy's got multiple teams, but apart from that, it's really just sort of individual teams. But the real this is the thought I had earlier. Now that they're free from immunity, they could be picked up by somebody else, and that's the interesting question. Will somebody come and an international organization pick up that squad? Because if you were if you're an international organization wanting to get in the Oceanic scene just for, I don't know why. I mean, it's not like they offer money or anything, but if they just wanted to have the novelty of having an Oceanic squad on their roster, is there a better team really to pick up than Exodus? Like they are the top dogs, even with Legacy having gone to the wild cards.
Why couldn't that have happened before though? As in. So you're saying now they're available to be picked up. Why couldn't they have been picked up when they were still immunity? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's true. And obviously
they're
nothing
contracted,
really.
Then.
Well, I mean,
guess
yes and no. They not really. I mean, they just dropped out of immunity now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not sure that they.
I don't know. I mean, I guess by leaving immunity, it's sort of waving the flag, saying, "Hey, please notice us." Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah. I mean. Again, it's hard to say.
It's just an attention seeking.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think they're just starting their own brand, and they have actually got a really cool little logo for their squad now, which is.
Oh, they got a cool logo. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
well that
they've got a
changes
cool
everything. I
Which
mean,
cool logos are cool.
Right. CLG will come knocking. They'll be like, "Sorry
That's
guys,
it.
we put so much work into this logo. We just can't sign with you.
Yeah.
Apologies." TSM Australia. Nah, sorry. We got this logo.
I think. Somebody's commenting. Oh, there we go. They immunity was on a contract till August 11th. So, there you go. They're on a contract. So, hey, Internet Cloud9, or maybe we could have SKT OCE or something.
SKT OCE. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Visits from Faker Senpai.
Yeah, that's it.
He just comes and hangs out.
Yeah. So
Maybe
I mean,
Samsung.
that's a
Maybe
possibility
Samsung.
as well, I guess. And if, well, as Frank says in the Twitch chat, they're on a contract, so they're free. They're now free agents. And, well, it's also nice to have another new brand out there. So, best of luck to them. And it's very good. It was very interesting news.
And best of luck to the new immunity.
Yeah, of course. So, I guess this show has followed their progress through former host Way and now through Steve. He helps them out a bit. So, always best of luck to them. And probably our third bit of big news in terms of the local scene. So there is a new avant-garde squad, which is about it might actually be on the internet now, but I was actually, their manager, Ranconius, gave me a heads up before we went live. So the new avant-garde squad is Colo in the top lane, Chelby in jungle, Kensti in mid, Babbo, I don't know how you say that. I'll say Babbo. And AKG Nada in those two guys in the bottom lane. So Colo and Chelby formerly of Curse, and Kensti formerly of Dignitas / XD.
Really, last I heard from Kensti, he was going over into the United States. Okay.
I just go with what I'm told
Yeah.
from Macronius. Shout out to him
Fair
in the
enough.
chat.
Fair enough.
So, big news. It's good. I mean, it's been a while since AV's actually had a squad. It was probably maybe a month ago, if I'm going off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong.
You're loving the live Twitch.
I am.
You can-
It's good.
You can say whatever you want, and if it's wrong,
Yeah.
someone will correct
Yeah, no, it's
you.
good. They're great. They're good. Shout out to everybody in the chat, into the chat. But no, I actually posted up on the G Chronicle forums about it. I just can't remember. But it's been a while. It's been a few weeks since AV had a squad after Winter Regional. So that was when Legacy Winterform went on their own, and then the rest of AV got dropped soon after. So well done to those guys. Kylo, Shelby, Kensti, all really good players, well known.
And it's good that they haven't changed their names. I'm getting
Yes.
sick of that.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, who's this guy? He's really good. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, it's just, it's player X, and he's just changed his name. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it! How am I supposed to keep up with this?
And I guess this probably means, well, something we haven't noticed, and this is now a mea culpa you're going to hear from us. Supposedly, the big Oceanic podcast, we totally didn't notice that Curse isn't like around for anything, so they're not playing in CGPL. And now 2 of their players have shown up in the Avant squad. So there's been no announcement, but it looks like Curse is gone. Curse Oceanic is gone. So that's a shame. It's a shame. It was a shame when any high profile team goes away. A little Wraith, then Curse. But yeah, there we go. We got a new Avant squad. So that's, I guess, something good that the players are still moving on. And I guess I'm guessing it's too late to sign up for CGPL, but the next big thing is the Oceanic Regional, so I guess they'll be working towards that. So best of luck to them in all of that. Cool. Well,
Any news?
lots of good things happening. Also some personnel changes. Direwolves, which is the Rippy's team, Rippy formerly Dignitas jungler, they've switched out they had best ADC as their marksman, and he's left because he's too young to be in for the Oceanic Regionals. And they've picked up Chuffer, who has been floating around for a while. Previously, you playing for a medal? He's now their ADC. And your Soul Shell Chuffer has swapped their ADC as well. Destiny has been swapped out for Denian, who's another player who's, again, been floating around in, half a dozen teams in the last little while.
I wonder if Chuffer's going to change his name to second best ADC.
That'd be funny.
Don't do
Hopefully
it.
not. You should do that just for a joke. Like, actually, speaking of CGPL, currently the professional league, you got Exodus on top with 3 wins. Envy is got 2 wins, and then you've got Team Immunity, Legacy, your Soul Shell Chuffer, Team Unlimited, and Direwolves. They've rounded out the top 8. So that's still ongoing, and games will be streamed for that this week. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and I'll post the links when they become available for all the different games. And I think that is the news. I think it's like the longest news section we've ever done of just like
the news.
Oceanic stuff. And I'm sure somebody else will bring something up in chat of something I've missed. So if they do, I suck. It's nothing new. I'm sure you all know it. Let's talk about the stuff that's coming with patch 4.14. First off, let's talk about Gnar. Gnar being the new champion. Gnar. Cute little bugger. What are your? I mean, I haven't played. I've played some games with him.
So sick of people playing Gnar who have never played him before in ranked games. I cannot tell you how sick I am of this. And no, he came out that day I played. First game, someone first picks him in top lane, just goes like 0-11, and then they're like, GG, well played. Like, halfway through the game,
Yeah.
we're like, obviously we're going to lose anyway, but he's like, nah, I'm going to AFK now. I hate that people do this. Whenever I get the chance now, I ban him straight away, or I ask someone to ban him, and I'm like, please ban Gnar so that no idiots on our team play a new champion in ranked that they've never played before. And most people, the people that are banning are actually that guy that's going to play. So I'm just like, cool, that's awesome, hooray,
The strategic Yasuo ban to prevent anyone on either team from getting
That
it.
too.
If it's on the enemy team, you know he's going to get fed. If he's on your team, you know he's going to do the feeding.
Yep.
But yeah, well,
exactly.
just a general advice to anybody: if it's your first time playing a champion and you're in ranked, you're doing it wrong.
You
should
are
really
an
be trying
idiot.
it.
There is
Yeah.
no other phrase or no other word for it. You are an idiot and you are trolling your team. Don't do it, please.
Yeah, or just in general, if you're going to be picking a champion that you're not familiar with, you got to practice this. And
Totally.
ranked
Ranked is not the place.
Ranked is supposed to be a measure of your skill. And if you're practicing stuff in ranked, then you are only hurting yourself. So if you're one of those people and you're oh, I'm stuck in bronze, I'm stuck in silver, or wherever you feel you're stuck in, it's really your own fault because you're hurting your own KDA, you're hurting your own elo, you're hurting your own chances of progression.
Totally.
So don't be that guy.
That aside, I guess,
That aside,
talking
yeah,
about the actual champion himself, because I've seen a lot of him now played very badly. I mean, look, I'm really struggling to see exactly where this guy is going to fit because he's so situational. So that exists on two fronts. The first is with relation to his transformation. You cannot control it, so it can happen at really fantastic moments when you're in the middle of a duel and then boom, all of a sudden a transformation takes place, completely turns the duel on its head, off you go. Or it can not, in which case you're actually highly vulnerable when someone's on top of you as Gnar, and you don't have your bounce available, and you don't have a transformation come out. You're very, very squishy. You're almost like, as Freak said in the Champion Spotlight, you're like Teemo. So when the stars align and the transformation comes up, he's great. And the other thing, I guess, that's highly situational is his abilities as well. So, for instance, for bounce to work, you have to have a unit nearby. Cool. For your passive, which if you hit a unit 3 times, not one of your passives, sorry, it's not your passive, it's your W. If you hit a unit 3 times, it gives you a speed boost. So you have to be able to hit something 3 times to be able to make use of that. Your ultimate, when you are in Mega Gnar form, can be awesome if your opponents are near a wall and if they are all clumped up together and if you happen to have been transformed at that exact moment and if there are just so many things that need to really align for this champion to be fantastic. So I actually don't think that he's going to be a viable pick in competitive. I don't think he's going to be viable high elo. I just think that you need, for a champion to really work well, he or she needs to be reliable. You need to know what that champion can do at every point. You can't just sort of go into team fights thinking, oh geez, I hope I get my Gnar transformation at the right moment so that I can do my ultimate, and I hope the enemy team is in the right place so that I can slam them all into wall. There are too many ifs in that statement, So he's fun, he's cute, he's great for trolling your team members, but I mean, I'm really not seeing that he's. I don't want to say he's badly designed because that's not a fair thing to say. It's far too early. But I think if you're looking for a champion that is strong and reliable, he's definitely not that yet. Maybe new methods of play will emerge that prove that wrong. But I think the fundamental nature of the champion is one that is about stars aligning, and I don't think you can really rely on that kind of champion if you want to climb elo, etc., etc. Just my thoughts.
See, I think. I think the key thing is his rage management because it's more like Rumble's heat than it is like Shyvana or Tryndamere or Renekton where it's it builds up and then you can use it when you need it. It's actually relatively it's predictable when you transform. Like I reckon if you get good, you could almost time it because it's based on the amount of auto attacks you're doing, and your abilities that you're using. So it's not like it's random.
Yeah,
it really comes down to. I think what will happen is most people will give it a go because he's fun and he's cute and he actually does quite a bit of damage and all that sort of stuff. Like his actual kit itself, what it does is quite effective. Like he's got lots of CC in his Mega Gnar form. Like essentially, he'll actually be kind of like a tanky champion that can CC the hell out of everybody and actually still do a fair bit of damage. And when he's in his mini Gnar form, he's going to be like Teemo, this annoying pain in the ass that kites you and because he does percentage of max health damage, again, he deals a lot of damage. So, I think his kit is effective, but the main thing is how do you manage his rage? And I think if you it's going to be like a Ryan Choi. You're going to have basically a whole bunch of people playing for fun, then a handful of people who, like Poppy, like a bunch of other champs, will master him. And I suspect they'll be able to time his transformations down to the second because they'll know, if I just use this rate of attacks, I'll get my ultimate at this point, and then you can time it with jungle and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think they're the kind of people who will make the most of him. Most other people will find it very frustrating.
I get that. Sorry to interrupt you. I've been trying to, but there's a fundamental difference between Gnar and Rengar though when it comes to resource management. In that I can actually control resource management with Rengar while still doing damage. So, for instance, I just don't use any of my abilities as Rengar, and I just auto attack, and I still am going to be able to get Frost into control. Where I can't do that with that.
Yeah.
I actually need to make a choice. Do I miss out on creep score in order to properly control when a transformation will take place?
Well, that's the hard thing. Yeah. So
Exactly. And
you
similarly,
can't
if I'm
easily
gonna-
push your way and then engage. I mean, I think it's one of those things that if you were to get ahead, so say you timed it right, you got first blood, maybe you get a second kill, so you're a little bit ahead. I think at that point you'd be hard to stop because every time you want to ult, you can. You won't need to bother like taking care with CS because you just go in there, go ham, and like literally wallop the shite out of the guy you're against because you deal so much damage and you do so much CC.
Again, I would actually really disagree with that because, like, because I've actually played against some Nas as well.
Yeah.
He's so predictable in terms of what he's able to do, right? So I see him transform. I'm like, cool. I can't go near Nas for the next little while, or if I do, I take advantage of the fact that he's really slow. So I just play really cautiously.
Well, that's the
Similarly,
smart thing.
as I try and gank his lane, I wait until his Mega Gnar is over, or until because I can see his rage bar filling as well. I'll be like, cool, he's about to transform. I'm not gonna ult. I'm not gonna go in for a gank. And when it's about over, I'll wait until just after it's finished because he actually gets a little speed boost, and then boom, I'll sail in there after that, and I'll ult him, and off we go.
And
so
that's a good point. The counterpoint I would say is that his ult goes for 15 seconds. So say he gets ahead. Say he gets a good gank early. You can't duel him because he's just too far ahead.
Sure.
For 15 seconds, he can zone you. And that's a long time to be zoned. And like his Q actually goes quite a long distance. And if he gets you, you're slowed quite significantly. So, I mean, it's obviously like it's all situational, but I think the person who can master him actually, if you can get that ahead, I think, he'll be actually quite nasty in lane to deal with. But I think very few people will. Very high skill cap. But I think most people most people in ranked won't play him because he'll be too hard to learn. And he'll come up in ARAMs because it's, ARAM, and he'll come up in normals because people still play Scion and normals because they're nuts. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the way it will go. But I think for the person who actually manages to learn how to master him, I think you'll end up, in a year's time or whatever, you'll have people who got to Diamond 1 just playing and nobody will understand how they did that. But it's because he's actually a good champ.
That can be said of any champion in the game.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you get
There's
Diamond
a
1
Poppy
poppies.
Diamond 1,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
But there'll be a guy who'll do an AMA. I got to Diamond 1 with there'll be guys like that. And nobody will understand how they did it. Just like they don't understand how they do it with Poppy. But I think Nas actually got a decent kit. It's just the managing his rage. That's the tricky part. And but I think there's a lot of reward. He's just fun. Like if you just want to play for fun,
he's fun.
You can have a laugh with him. And when he bops on somebody's head, then he explodes into a giant rage monster, and then starts like in a team fight situation. I mean, managing the rage in the team fight section will be hard. But if you can actually manage it right, if he bops somebody on the head and then lands in the middle of the team and starts CCing and throwing them around and stunning them. I mean, he's basically got like 3 AoE CC abilities. Like it's just crazy. So, I think if it's, again, done right, and in his mini-Gnar form, deals pretty good damage. His boomerang it's got a pretty long range, it's got a slow. So he's going to be annoying like Teemo's annoying. So, yeah, I mean, I think with those caveats, I'll say he's a good champ.
Yeah.
And he's a good addition. I mean, I guess one of the cool things is they're getting to the point where they don't necessarily need to add super competitive champs with every time because there's 119 other champs or whatever it is to pick from. Feel free to use any of them.
Yes and no. I guess that's just kind of going back to a discussion that we had earlier about champion diversity. It's like, there's so few champions that are actually played within the meta, or certainly at a competitive level, you know what I mean? And sure, there's some variance, with patch cycles and they change and whatever else. But I think that, for instance, let's look at supports. We've got like Nami, Thresh, we've got like Morgana and Braum, you know what I mean? And then after that, maybe you've got like Leona and that sort of thing. Like, and then we look at. Sorry, I just forgot. You're right. Alistar's certainly back in. So what I'm saying is that we've got like Braum came in, and it was just instantly a very transformative champion. Like, he had a place, very, very strong, highly competitive. Like, he had a very big impact on the game. And this kind of champion comes in, and he's not going to have that same kind of impact on the game. He's fun, he's cute, but I think that champion diversity is really critical, and I'm not really sure that this is the kind of champion that is adding to solving that champion diversity problem.
Well, except that, I mean, I think last time I watched the LCS preview show in the NAE LCS, they'd used, I think, about 70 champions out of 100 and whatever.
Over the course of
over the course over the course of this split. And last split, it was 80, I think it was about 80 something, 89, 90. So, when you're using just over half, when you're using 3/4 of the champions, I mean, it's pretty good. Obviously, it from week to week, it feels like they're playing the same champions. But as we've seen, like, where was Alistair at the start of the season? Where was...
True.
Where was... who else was...
Maokai.
Yeah, Maokai. Oh my gosh, Maokai. Gosh. The guy's like number one top pick.
Yeah, that's very true.
At the moment. So, these things change, and there are cycles, and, we all probably remember League of Cleavers and, Curse of the Sad Bullet Time, and, the Holy Trinity of Corki and Graves and Ezreal, and, I mean, Corki looks like he's going to get another buff eventually because, Worlds is coming, but, when is the last time you really saw a whole lot of Ezreal? Like, that guy was always everywhere for a while. A long period. Yeah, these things
he was
change.
being picked when Leona was getting picked.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah.
Around the lane swap meta.
Yeah. And then
back,
there's
so it's
4v1.
4.10, 4.10.
Yep. So, yes, I'm happy to have a less competitive pick. And heck, you never know. Somebody might pull it out and just kick ass with him, and that'd be fun.
That'd be cool. I'd love that. I'd love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong, but yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. We got about 15 minutes left. Let's get through some of this very small patch notes, but there's some interesting stuff in there. So, Corki, again, soon. That's literally the patch notes. Soon.
I love
It's
it.
coming.
Like,
Corki's-
soon is the quote, and then the general, soon, and then it's soon.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, Cassidy, I think this one is actually quite interesting. So, Cassidy, they're trying to, again, hamper his mobility. So the period of time, so basically at the moment when you use his ultimate, it does damage, uses 75 mana. Then when you use it again, it deals extra damage and doubles the mana cost. And it does that every time you use it, it adds up. And there's basically there was a 12-second period by which after that 12 seconds is up, it reset. So essentially it meant that if you spam his ultimate, you run out of mana. That gap has gone from 12 seconds to 20 seconds. And really this is like, it's going to super hamper his... I'd say definitely his early game and his mid game. Really, until he gets, unless he starts getting heaps of mana items, even his late game is going to be.
Well, it's going to force him to stay in lane a lot more because he's not going to be able to have the massive amounts of I'll just teleport like 5 times to get the bottom lane gank. Like he can't do that very often, and he can't start roaming, do it, and then head back to lane after he realizes it's no longer a good decision to go bottom. Because he's not going to be able to jump back into lane as quick. So without, again, reducing his mana by a lot. I mean, 12 seconds was already a long time. 20 seconds.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh! I know when I've played him, if you are almost out of mana, but you've got enough for another Rift Walk. But that cooldown, that the restraint there is 12. You got to wait 12 seconds while you're being chased before you can use your Rift Walk again. It's a long time, and 20 seconds is even worse. So really, if he gets caught out with no mana, he's pretty much gonna die. Well, not enough to Rift Walk. Because I mean, the thing I think he gets to about 1,200 mana a pop. No, 600 mana a pop. That's a lot of mana to have just to use one ability. So,
well, I think any kind of Cassidy nerfs are kind of welcome at this point. They're still fine tuning him. I think he's probably in a good spot right now. And the pro players are still like, no way, man, he's awesome. Pick him, ban him, no matter what. But I'm not sure his win rate is actually... I suppose it's still pretty damn good. But he's probably not as devastating as people think. Like, once people learn that you can deal with him, and if you zone him a particular way, or starve him a farm, or put him up against Zed. Zed. Yeah. There are ways to beat him. He's not an insta-win like he was, 3 patches ago.
Yep. actually, we'll get to that Z change in a sec. So, Cogmore is now a bit more gooey. His movement has been reduced, and his ultimate does less base magic damage to champions. So, little nerfs. I mean, I think, especially with Zed coming, who's going to definitely come back into the meta once we'll explain his changes in a sec. I think this movement speed nerf is going to hurt Cogmore a bit because Cogmore really suffers. Like it's noticeable how much slower he is compared to every other ADC. Well, less mobile. So I think this is going to affect him a lot. I'd say.
Well, it's thematically it's good because he's meant to feel like an artillery piece essentially. Like he's got living artillery as his ultimate. So having him be mobile is not in theme. When we're talking power and everything like that, Cogmore, Tristana, and Lucian are the three most powerful ranged AD carries or marksmen at the moment. So, that might knock him off the pedestal and might open it up again. Because we know positioning is core when it comes to marksmen.
Yeah, I don't think his ult's going to affect him much.
No.
No, I mean really. You're gonna have maybe what was it like 30? How much AP do you get from Trinity Force? Like 30 something.
25, I think.
Yeah, and it's base magic damage. So yeah.
Oh no, 30. Yeah.
Basically, it's it's not doing as much magic damage as it was.
Yeah, it's not going to matter.
Amount.
I mean,
yep.
AP Cogmore is probably going to get hurt by that, but it's very rarely picked. I mean, it is occasionally, but it's still going to grant vision, which is one of the biggest advantages that it has. Whether it's from farming the white or checking a brush before you walk in. It's basically a shorter range clairvoyance that gives you damage, a little bit of damage on them. So.
A little bit of damage. All right. Maokai, he's had his maximum, so the base magic damage he does on his W has been reduced at maximum levels, and the AP ratio has been slightly reduced, which is good because it's still pretty high. 3% per 100 AP is pretty nasty. And his the maximum duration of his R has been reduced by 2 seconds. So again, small nerfs. It's probably not going to. I don't think it's going to really push him out of his viability at the moment in top lane. But he's
still stupidly strong.
Yeah. I think that they could probably nerf the duration of his ult a bit even more, probably to like 6 or 8 seconds, just because. It's AoE, it's 20%, either that or reduce the early damage reduction it does. If they reduce the amount of... Because it actually does a lot of damage as well, even without absorbing anything. It's pretty nasty. So to do lots of... And reduces damage taken, and it goes for 10 seconds. Like, that's still quite a powerful ult.
Yeah.
I think we'll see.
He's going to stay there. He's going to stay there.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably the last patch before Worlds, so he's definitely going to be hugely competitive for Worlds.
Who knows? There might be a Corky one coming through.
Yeah, just be one.
Corky top lane.
Just like a patch note is like
no.
Corky changes.
Corky changes. The 4.1.
They're going to merge Lee Sin into Corky's kit, and he's going to That's how they're going to buff him for Worlds.
I like it. I like
Lee Corky, the blind pilot.
Yeah, the blind pilot.
Kamikaze.
Yeah.
That's a horrible theme.
Now, I think we've really got to wrap this up. So we'll talk about one more thing, and then we might come back to some of this stuff next week, but there's not a whole lot else, really. But Rengar, this I am very excited
really?
by.
I thought we were going to go straight to Zed.
Oh, no, we have got Zed as well. Yeah. We'll talk about that next week, because I think I don't know. We'll see how we go. Rengar, I just want to talk about this because I'm happy. It makes me extremely excited. They've nerfed his early the cooldown on his level 1 ult, so it's another 20 seconds, another 30 seconds at rank 1, another 25 seconds at rank 2, and there's no difference at rank 3. But the best thing is it's the little indication that he's in range is
that's the real change.
Now 1,002, so it's 1250 instead of 1,000, and it doesn't matter if he's like, it's just no matter what, if he's within 1250 range of that, you will always know. And I think that is so helpful because I'm sick of having Rengars pop out of the middle of nowhere and destroy me.
I don't know. I think that change kind of sucks. I mean, Like the cool thing about Rengar was his ability to make really interesting plays in top or bottom lane brushes. You know, like when he was able to sneak in behind, he was able to be in that brush while like a creep minion, creep line pushes towards, and then boom. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that now there's going to be a warning even when he's I don't know. I don't like it. I just think that you're removing that really defining element of Rengar's play. You know, like cool, he's altered. You got a big exclamation mark over your head. You're like crap. Now I've got to get to my tower as quickly as possible. I have to be ready with my flash, ready with my heal. You know, like your support knows about it, all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's a really I'm not a huge fan of that change personally. I think that's removing one of the most important elements in terms of how to play Rengar really well. The sort of stuff you see over in
They
Korea.
haven't
So says the
removed it.
jungler.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
just
even.
balanced it.
Say again.
They've just balanced it around what he's actually been doing, like because he's got enough of a distance, like he can leap far enough that it's still going to be surprising. And
Yeah.
yeah, like whether
And
or not
knowing
this
you
will-
were in the area isn't quite the same as knowing exactly where he is. Like, and that's a huge thing. Like, you know, like it's different with someone like Eve. Like Eve, if you get the thing above your head, you know she is really close. But 1250 is quite a big range, and you don't know exactly where he is. You know, he could be in the brush. He could be, you know, like, I mean, yes, you run straight back to the tower. But
Yeah.
if you're already pushed up, like, I mean, the main thing is it still allows him to get around wards, and that's what sets him aside from Eve. What sets him aside from, like, with Eve, you can get past wards, but the last little gap, you have to be seen. Shaco, you
that's
can
the point,
ward
he
and
can't
see
get-
where he is, but the last little gap, you can't see him.
That's what I'm saying. He can't get past wards well, he can, but with less efficiency now. You know what I mean? If he's going for a bottom lane gank and he's in that brush, you know, and he triggers his ult, then you know what I mean? Like that.
But,
Then you
but
start
it still
getting
doesn't tell you where he is. Like he could,
No, it
he could
doesn't,
be in the
but
brushes
where- if-
behind you. He could be coming down the river. He could be, you know, well, you can't cut past your own tower. You can try, but he gets spotted. But you know, he could be coming down the middle of the lane. Like there's still lots of directions he can go, and if you're pushed up, you can't get away fast enough. You know, because the main thing, like the only reason you can get away from a gank if you're pushed up against their tower is if you've spotted them at like coming through the tri-brush or coming down river.
Yeah,
like if you spot them when they're already at the end of the river, you can't get away, and that's so you still have to play. And if you have to play conservatively, that works to your advantage because you're forcing them to stay away from CS, stay out of experience range, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I totally get that. There's definitely counterplay. I fully acknowledge that. But as I said, I think that yeah, I guess well, I need to acknowledge that something needs to be done around Rengar. You know what I mean? Like he is just blowing people up in a very frustrating way in a majority of circumstances. He's extremely
well,
dominant. So
Well, his
but I'm not
his
sure that's
burst
right.
potential is really the reason that he's so powerful, and this
Yeah.
just like at the moment, if you go against a Fed Rengar and solo queue, like if he goes 5-0 before the end of the laning phase, you're dead. Like if you're a marksman or a squishy champion of any kind, and you see the explanation mark above your head, it's not Rengar's in the area, it's you're 1 second from dying.
Yeah.
That's what that little explanation means. If you've got the option to flash before he's within leap range, that's a big improvement to just playing against a Rengar, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it.
I don't know. I kind of think that he needs to fall off more end game. You build Rengar, damage at the beginning, and then tanky after that, and he still can crunch an ADC
Yeah.
at end game, just completely blow them up while also being tanky. You know what I mean? Not tanky, but enough that he can get in there and survive pretty comfortably. You know, I think the solution to him is actually just to reduce his burst towards late game, reduce his AD ratios, so that he doesn't just explode people at end game, because that's I think the major problem at this point.
Well,
Not necessarily.
He's meant to be the hunter, so he still needs
Yeah.
to have the threat of being able to just kill people, like because otherwise he's not going to match his theme. But if you can keep that aspect of him, but make sure that if he's building tanky, that is far less likely to do it. Like,
Yeah, but,
I agree.
the-
I got to agree with you with that kind of point.
yeah, it's like
if you build him tanky, you shouldn't be able to insta-give people.
totally like Nocturne. for
Unless
instance.
unless you've killed Kazakhs. In which case, you deserve that. 'cause
Sure,
that
sure, that's
happens
true.
so infrequently.
But like Nocturne is a perfect example. Like his job is to dive a backline hard, kill a squishy really quickly, and then that's it. Like he can't get out at that point. He's fully exposed. That's the balance there. He can get to the backline, he can blow someone up, but he's highly exposed. And it's not like that for Rengar. He can jump in there, he can tank damage, he can jump away, he can stealth, he can do all sorts of stuff. And I think that's the problem. It was the same with Kha'Zix as well. Kha'Zix could jump in there, assassinate someone, go invisible, and survive forever after that. You know what I mean? So I think that's the issue that they're not dealing with Rengar at the moment. That makes him feel really unfair.